So it's been years in the making, my official code of conduct it's mine, I created it, it's long. Been doing this for, what am I doing? I'm a professional cuddler and I'm Janet Trevino. And I do other sessions as well, but I've been doing this work for over 8 years. So I learned a lot and I love to share with you, what is our code? What do we agree on when we come together and when we spend time in touch and in presence and in sharing kindness and affection. So pardon me, I usually don't read, but I'm gonna do this reading it bit by bit and hopefully you can follow along. And then we'll discuss it more in depth. So here it goes. So welcome and intention. This code of conduct is a living agreement between us, designed to support clarity, trust, and mutual respect in our work together. Whether we're connecting through conversation, presence, stillness, movement, or touch, our shared space is one where your full humanity is welcome. This is at the heart of what I do. Acknowledging your humanity, acknowledging my humanity. So it's two humans coming together and agreeing to do this, dance together, right? A touch and connection and shared affection. So that's where we begin. And this document that I'm sharing with you holds structure, but it's not a wall. It's a container, a place to feel safe, seen, and respected. I bring warmth, honesty, professionalism, and care to each session. These agreements help us co-create something meaningful, grounded, and supportive. When I read this, a part that I really want to emphasize that it's not a wall. Oftentimes when people create kind of like their ethics or their rules or, this is what's expectations, it feels very much like these are the walls that you need to make sure you respect. And I would rather see this much more like a container where the goals are to be human, to be true, to have integrity, to also creating safety, being seen. And that is at the heart of what I'm trying to do. So it's gonna feel like we're creating something together. And that feels really good. And again, it's co-creation. So a note on mutuality. Our sessions are co-created. That's what I was saying. You're not here to impress, perform, or please me. Oof, those words are really important. Sometimes I have clients who, they feel this pressure about being with me, and that's, not to impress, perform, or please me. You're here to be real, present, and supported. You may ask for what you want. You may express how things feel. You're invited to bring your truth into the room, even if it's messy, unsure, or hard to name. That is also part of this work. So it looks like on the surface that I'm here to provide touch and to create, spaces where people can get those needs met, but there's so much more underneath that. And it's sometimes really messy and hard to say, right? And so that's okay. That's also part of what we do here. It's the unnamed parts of what happens in session. Okay, so here is the code. Get a little warm. So this code of conduct applies to all clients, whether we meet online or in person, through surrogate partner therapy or professional cuddling. It's designed to create a safe, respectful, and human-centered experience for both of us. So first off, I think this is basic for everyone who's a professional cuddler, the age and intake. So age, all clients must be 18 plus. Yes, must be an adult. And particularly the ages of 18 to 24 may need additional support and clarifying their goals. So we're looking at people who might not, the brain isn't fully formed yet. We have some prefrontal cortex that's still kind of coming online. So I just want to be really conscientious around that age group, that we just talk a little bit more in depth about what your goals are and especially if like emotional regulation or attachment is present. I welcome these kind of situations, but just checking in with you about kind of what is it that you're hoping to accomplish. Number 2, communication and scheduling. So my preferred communication is text or in person. I do not schedule via social media. It gets kind of messy and I may slip through the crack. If you prefer to use email, please be patient and follow up if needed. Emails sometimes get buried. To speed things up, pretty simple process. Go to my website, janettrevino.com, fill out a request, and then text me. There's a number provided that you can text me to let me know that you've submitted it. Allow 1 to 3 days to respond to new inquiries. If I'm traveling, sometimes that takes a little bit longer, and I apologize. Texting is for coordination and brief check-ins only. Longer conversations belong in session. Number 3, intake disclosures. You're encouraged to share any mental health diagnosis, physical conditions, or substance use, prescribed or recreational, that might impact our work. Particularly like if you're on something, I would like to know, just in case, something were to happen and come up. It's just good for me to be able to like also get to know you. So if you are on something, I can like, oh, this is the version of you that is on the substance. And if you come without a substance, I can be like, okay, just kind of create some context for me. And in case of emergency, this is up to you, but I'd love to have, who would I contact in case something would happen beyond 911. So that's just in case, helpful. All right, number 4, consent, boundaries, and limits. We co-create each session through active, ongoing consent, which just means, hey, you and I, we decide what we're going to do together, and we are checking in and making sure this is still what we both want to do. Boundaries are self-care lines. So if I set up a boundary, it's actually for me taking care of myself. And limits are the yes and no's that we have. So one of my boundaries is that I don't want anyone kind of getting close to my butt crack. Or actually, if that happens, then I will make it known that that's a boundary, and I don't like that's. I will like get up and leave, or I don't know what I'll do, but I'll put a stop to it. What a bizarre example. Yes, and limits are the things that are yes and no zones. So I guess I should say that would be also, that's like a limit. There's parts of the body that are limits, that are no zones. And yeah. And then there's, of course, being really clear about what the limits are. So before we start working together, we do go over like what our yeses and our nos. What parts of our bodies are okay to touch and what part of our bodies are not okay to touch. If touch is a part of our session, which most of them are, it's always explicitly agreed upon and can be withdrawn at any time. So that's consent, or like we can agree upon something and we can say, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to do that anymore. Requests are welcome. All requests, you can ask for what you want, but the action is mutually negotiated. So if it happens, or if we choose to do the thing, we get to agree together if that happens. Next one, asking for what you want. There's no request that is too awkward or inappropriate to ask. And I know that's hard to believe. You can ask for anything. I have received very awkward requests. I think more awkward on their side because it's like, is it okay for me to ask this? And I'm like, yeah. Like, may I put my, head on your calf muscle? Yeah, sure. Like the pillow, I guess. That's that. It might look kind of awkward, but you can ask for it. That doesn't mean it will be fulfilled, but honesty is always preferred to silence. I think that's like sometimes people hold things inside and I can tell that there's something that's kind of bothering them, and I'm curious, like, I can tell there's something that you might want to say. Is there something you want to just let me know what you're thinking? And it helps, it really helps to just get it out there, and it takes a lot of strength and bravery, but it kind of creates more calm in the session. So we navigate all requests with respect and professionalism. So even if I'm going to say no to your request, I will be respectful. And usually often, sometimes I feel sad about saying no, because there's a part of me that kind of wishes I could say yes to all the things. But yeah, it's also okay for me to say no, because it's looking at the bigger picture. All right, next one, session agreements. Clothing expectations will be discussed in advance. I'm leaving that hole really open. Yeah, because we are co-creating. There are different types of sessions for different clothing needs. So I'll leave it there. Please arrive with minimal body odor and clean teeth, unless otherwise agreed upon. Sometimes people return, like they're coming to see me after work, and they made requests like, oh, so like, tell me like what expectations you have about like my body. Do I need to be like recently showered? And just let me know kind of like, what is your work involved? Is it outdoors? Is it indoors? Things like that. Most people don't have like issues with body odor, so it's not a concern usually. You can brush your teeth at my place if you need to brush your teeth. That helps, but just being conscientious around it. And also with all of this, you may end the session at any time. I may do the same if I feel unsafe or disrespected. Most of the times I've needed to do that, though, I have let the person know, hey, this isn't working. Unless it's something really egregious, like get a kind of a warning, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable. I've only needed to end a session once or twice. And so it doesn't happen very often, but we both reserve the right to do so. Next section, session intentions and physical reactions. So if you're hoping to fix something, see these videos, I don't edit them, so you get the sneezes too. Okay, so if you're hoping to fix something or work on something for yourself, like a specific goal, please name it. It helps to keep us aligned and keep us on track to what you're looking for. And sometimes bodies react. It's normal. When something physical arises that isn't aligned with the session's intentions, we'll simply acknowledge it and refocus. And that's kind of a lot of code there to say that bodies do what bodies do, also what we've conditioned them to do. But sometimes touch can create a response that we didn't agree, like that was something that was going to be part of our session, and that's okay. And we just stay on track to what we hoped to accomplish in the session, and bodies can be bodies, and they are welcome just as they are. Next section is power dynamics. So intimacy-based sessions can stir strong emotional responses. I'm going to say that again, because that's pretty deep. Intimacy-based sessions can stir strong emotional responses. Emotions really do show up. I hold this awareness with care. My role is to support your autonomy. This is still your experience, not to lead or define your experience. My warmth and care are genuine and professional. Emotional intimacy is part of the work. So sometimes, feelings are going to show up. It's okay. And it's not an invitation to blur boundaries. So we're going to go a little more deeper into this section about what it is and what it's not. So emotions can be present. So what happens with emotional responses and attachment, which is the next section? Feeling deeply or catching feelings or forming emotional attachment is normal and valid. It's totally okay if you start to have like feelings of feeling in love or of really getting very close and attached and kind of wanting more sessions or more time with me. Rather than acting on those feelings, we can explore what they mean about you. And that's also part of the work, and I welcome it. Now, I do highly encourage you to see if you have a therapist or a counselor or someone else you can talk to, a friend. Go talk to these people and get support. Sometimes people will want to discourage you from seeing a cuddler when there's feelings. But what I try to do, and I hope to do, is to make sure I'm having conversations with the client around what those feelings mean. And they're often not about me. they may think it's about me, but it's actually about themselves. And what is it that they're longing for and they're needing, and the needs that are being met. And there's something really beautiful about just celebrating all the wonderful feelings that come up without needing to own the relationship or the situation or me, without possessing me, but just like that, just this really feels good, and I can just be in the feelings of it. Yeah. But it's part of the work that we can do and explore together. Next section is feedback culture. So you are invited to share feedback before, during, and after the session. I also offer reflections if they support your, for you, create more clarity for you, safety, or growth. Honest feedback makes our work stronger and more attuned. So it's okay for you to share with me kind of like what's going on and how you feel, and like what worked, also what didn't work. Sometimes things don't work, and that's okay. And sometimes I will ask in sessions if I can give feedback, or if you want to ask me like, hey, what did you think? What was it like to be with me? What are your impressions? And I will be happy to share honestly what I think. I don't think a lot of people want to know, but I do love, giving feedback if that supports your process. Session purpose and frequency. So sessions can be part of like a long-term care. Like some people who maybe are in a relationship as a caregiver of their partner or someone else, and they're constantly giving in their life. So they can use me as like, I just need some place that I can land that I'm being taken care of. That's a possibility. Or being part of a short-term goal, like transitioning between like, dating, and you're kind of like in that middle space, and maybe you're seeing someone, but there's not a lot of touch because it's still a new relationship, and you're just like, wow, I have these touch needs until I can, I'm kind of making up a situation. But if there's a short-term situation, you're like, I just need this touch for right now, and it's not forever. I am here for that too. Sometimes people just come for like a couple sessions and I just never hear from them again. That's okay. So however it works, both are welcome and valid. Next is accessibility and needs. So if you have any mobility, sensory, communication, neurodivergence, or any other access needs, let me know. I aim to create a space that works for your body, mind, and nervous system. And there can be a lot of things. I can't possibly read people. Sometimes I wish I could, but I actually think it's great that using your words and letting me know and writing things out, communicating what you're needing and how things work for you is really helpful to making like the best type of session for you. We have 4 more sections. So confidentiality. You may share your experience in any way that feels right to you. I will not be sharing any information that identifies you. I may speak about themes in our work in a generalized way, but usually not as individual stories. Now, I have shared stories on here, and it usually is because of safety, because something really concerning has happened, and I need to I will let people know hey, if someone is really feeling dangerous to me, that I may say something about someone, but for the most part, if you're a client and you're actually, then there's no reason for me to share anything individual about your life. It's a tech and recording. So there's no recordings, photos, or video by either of us without explicit consent. This helps keep our sessions grounded in trust and presence. Now, the only time that would change is if we agree to do a live session and it's being recorded for YouTube, then totally. Which, by the way, side note, I'm still open to people coming for free sessions. If you're welcome to being on YouTube live and sharing what this is like with me. So that's a possibility. Physical environment. So there's a driveway parking is preferred to avoid street traffic. And so there's a little spot I usually leave that has a gate, so leaving space with the gate to open, but street parking is fine too. But if you'd like that, just an extra little space, you can use that. The privacy gate will be closed during our session. So that means that in an emergency, you won't be able, and if I was I couldn't support you to get out through the gate, because I opened the gate, I will show you the exit, emergency exit to get off the property into your vehicle if something were to happen. So that I will show in your first visit. But for the most part, this place is it's really private, so there won't be any kind of anybody disturbing our session together. Late arrival and cancellation. So if you're more than 15 minutes late without contacting me, the session may be forfeited. I've had to do this many times. And it's also very sad. It's when I'm kind of waiting and I don't hear from them, and I'm like, so I text and say, hey, we'll be canceling our session. So no shows though are charged 50% of the missed session fee. Like if you don't show and you don't let me know and nothing, then I will charge you 50% of that fee, and that will be collected if you schedule again. So the second session, I'll expect the full payment of the second session plus 50% of the first one. Sometimes I request a deposit, and I kind of leave that to my discretion, and that is $40 deposit will be required if I requested for your first session. It is non-refundable if you cancel within 24 hours before the session. Again, there's flex, right? So if there's like a crazy emergency, like accident or something, I understand. But for the most part, it's not refundable, and it is refundable if you cancel, of course, with more than 24-hour notice. So that is pretty much the code of conduct. Yay! Did that take a long time? Kind of. So I wanted to share one last piece. So this is not really with the code. It's more about like grounding, aftercare, the spacing between that session, your first session, if I see you again, or just that really wildly, sometimes complicated and difficult space that is after your first session. So sometimes after a session, you may feel peaceful and full. Other times you might feel tender, raw, or unsettled, especially if you're returning to a life where you're not often seen, safe, or held in this way. That's really, really deep and powerful. This is often why if people ask me if there's any kind of warning, is there any reason why I shouldn't have a cuddle session? It's it's because of this. Because especially if you're not experiencing touch in your life, and you do in this very immersive, warm, very incredible way, at some point that hour ends, or 2 hours, however long you've scheduled, and you go back to your life, and that can feel even more dark and scary and sad. It can be very painful. So being gentle with yourself, right? So these feelings show up. It's not a sign that something went wrong. I'll say that again. It's not a sign that something went wrong if you feel these feelings. It's a sign that something meaningful happened. Something meaningful happened. It's common to feel grief or longing, emotional vulnerability, disconnection from others or your environment, a desire to return quickly or to pull away from the intensity. If this arises, I invite you to be gentle with yourself afterward. Maybe less screen time, more rest or soothing. Name the contrast out loud or in writing. It helps with integration to kind of get it out of your body. Remember that the space we create doesn't disappear. Even if you're not with me, it still lives on in you. We can also build in transition time. So this would need to be special requested. Let me know if you need a transition time, the last 5-10 minutes. We do something really different, some grounding practices to getting you back into your body, or simple rituals that help you leave more softly. Now, can be really important for some of you who are really afraid of, oh my gosh, the overwhelm of I just had this amazing experience, and how do I get back to my normal life? We can build that in. We can really, with ease, move you back into your life. And if it's helpful, please feel free to send a short text after your first session or after any of your sessions to share how you're doing. I may not respond right away, but I'll hold your experience with care. So I will eventually get to you, but it's okay to come and just share with me. Yeah, because this work is not just like, oh yeah, just go cuddle and chill and all this will be great, but it can really touch and access deep parts of ourselves. There's parts of our bodies that have never been touched, and there's stories that live inside our bodies that have not been brought to the surface, and it just could be the right time and the right place and my energy that like pulls things to the surface, and people just weep and people laugh and people have all sorts of things that come to the surface because the body feels the safety and feels like, yeah, I can actually start to release some of this stuff. So there you go. That is the code of conduct. Thank you for making it this long with me, and I wish you the best cuddle sessions out there. And if you aren't able to access me and this is out there, finding a professional cuddler in your area, or a body worker, or whatever it is that you're looking for, that ask them about their code and ask them about the things that, like how they run their sessions and what you're looking for. Always ask for what you want. Okay.